My name is Jonathan Horrell. I'm Director of Sustainability for Mondelez International. We're a global business with big businesses in chocolate and biscuits and coffee and a few other categories, which means that we're a major buyer of many commodities, agricultural commodities, specifically many tropical commodities, and specifically, of course, many tropical commodities that therefore are linked in some way with deforestation.
Why are you here at the Oslo REDD Exchange, which is really a big meeting of people interested in forests and climate change, where you would not necessarily expect to see members of big industrial companies?
Well, I think there is a significant opportunity to come from the private sector participating in discussions like this. REDD clearly is a government-to-government mechanism, and we don't seek to intervene in that in any way, but such that REDD and other forms of climate money can help to promote sustainable change within landscapes that are prone to deforestation. Of course, inevitably that's going to have an impact on production systems for agricultural commodities. And therefore I think to increase the dialogue between the private and the public sectors around this agenda can only be helpful in the long term.
Do you mean that you're expecting government policy and regulations to change and you need to prepare to adapt? Or is it more that you are proactively interested in this, maybe because your consumers want it or for other reasons, business reasons?
Yeah, well, certainly our consumers want it, but also as a business we want it to have more sustainable commodity production. We're very concerned about the vulnerability of supply chains actually to things like climate change. So there is a responsibility to maybe reduce emissions through better farming practices and reduce deforestation. But also in the process we want to protect the farmers who are producing these commodities from some of the worst effects of climate change. And therefore it works on both sides of the coin, if you like. And I think it's in the outcome of these discussions can only be more sustainable farming systems. And therefore I think we spend a lot of our time looking to see how we can make agricultural supply chains more sustainable, and that's why I think there is a lot of common ground between these two discussions.
If effectively agricultural supply chains were more sustainable, farmers were better protected, and forests and the environment were better protected, how would it help you as a business? Would it be more profitable? Why is it important for a business like Mondelez?
Well, first and foremost, we're here for the long term, and we have, in many of our categories, quite rapid growth, and therefore we're going to be looking for more commodities over the next 10, 20 years. And many of those commodities are coming from supply chains which, as I say, are quite vulnerable to external pressure. So in a world where resources are becoming tight, we need to become smarter about the way we farm. We need to increase productivity without necessarily increasing our land area. We need to protect forests and the ecosystem services they provide so that in turn we can help to promote that productivity. And so I think it's the primary benefit from us being involved in this is that we can get more secure and more sustainable supply chains. In the process, of course, we're dependent on many, many farmers, many of them smallholder farmers, and they suffer poor livelihoods. And therefore, if we can improve production systems to make them more productive, then hopefully they should be able to improve their livelihoods as well. So we see both an environmental benefit from this for, if you like, ourselves but the world, but also a socio-economic benefit in our supply chains. And we think that makes our business more secure in the long term, helps us manage risks much better.
From what you've seen and heard here in Oslo this week, is there any progress towards what you're asking for now? Is REDD, as you said, a largely intergovernmental process, taking the private sector more and more into account, or is there still a lot to do?
What I think has been very interesting during the course of this year is that the debates like this, whether it's REDD or other forms of governmental action, are increasingly starting to take account of the fact that commodities are farmed in the areas that they're seeking to act. And therefore, that seems to have been a quite significant shift during the course of this year, and I think that's very welcome.